On this week's episode of Doom Scrolling, we are going to talk a little Ghostrider and Blade, coming at you right after this.
His name is Doom. His name is
Hey everyone, and welcome to our next Scroll Down Doom Lane. This is the podcast where our hosts scroll through every property that we think has a chance to appear in Marvel's Doomsday or Secret Wars. After almost 20 years of MCU films and almost 30 years of legacy properties, we have decided to, prep for Doomsday. And like any good apocalypse survivor, mutant or not, we may need a little more prep as we discuss all these properties, throw out a little trivia about them, and decide if they are worthy of Doom himself. I am Walter Kraske, and with me on this journey is my friend and co-host Dylan Frazino. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, dude?
Tired, buddy. Tired. It's been a really stressful week. I feel like for everybody as a whole.
Big time. Well, I'm excited to get through these legacy properties so we can start getting into the properties that we really think are going to be more of a direct effect on what we're going to be seeing in the future coming up. But Blade is technically now canon in the MCU, so we're starting with the OG.
I mean, we have pushed through these, I feel, a little faster than we originally planned, because I think we quickly realized that the Deadpool Wolverine of it all is not going to work. It was a good gimmick, I feel like, at first, because the shock value of Laura's X-23 and Elektra and Blade, like Blade showing up, was so much. And that's the reason we're doing this. But next week, I actually meant to talk to you about this off cast. I have an app that has like a little wheel. So I just say what's left of these legacy properties, because we are now into the minor ones, with the exception of Spider-Man and X-Men. We spin it and we just worthy or unworthy, and we move on. And I think after that we will be in the meat of the things finally, which is going to be a lot more fun.
Works for me. All
right, well, before we move into these properties, each week we start with a little info about Doom. Did you know our boy Vic is a bit of a mama's boy?
I did, gone through hell and back for that lady, and in some instances is where he retrieved a lot of his magic powers.
Yes, that is actually correct. Every single person has a motivation in life: money, fame, power. Mine's naps normally, but it's no different in the comics. Doom loved Cynthia Von Doom, who was a Romani witch that used dark magic as a bit of attempt at a revenge on her oppressors, because the rulers of Latveria before Doom were not kind to the Romani. But in her turn to dark magic, she ended up with her soul in hell, property of Mephisto, that Doom went and has attempted to retrieve. But
very much like what's the Greek god, but she's like trapped there with him like half of the year or something like
Persephone,
that. Persephone, yeah.
Her
mother,
very,
very big like Persephone vibes.
Yeah, that's actually a really good reference on that one. And I think a really good lead-in to this week. Oh man, we thought last week was bad. I don't know. This week, I feel like this week is equally rough, with maybe a little bit of light to it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the first Blade movie. I think that I wouldn't say that it necessarily holds up, but out of the three of them, it's certainly the most, I think, entertaining and well put together. The best. I think it's just the best looks. But I mean, I wouldn't say that it necessarily holds up.
I feel it's definitely dated. So the way it's written worked for the time. It seems a little silly now to me, but I agree with you that of the five that we're going to talk about this week, it is by far the better of them. Yeah. And it holds up well. To me, it was really similar to, actually a lot of these are similar in the way where what makes the MCU great is it is connected. All these movies, even like last week, Punisher, we brought it up, where it was like, it's just a revenge story that happens to star the Punisher. This is just a vampire slaying story that happens to have Blade in it. And they did do a good job, though, I will say, with Blade. But do you want to just get Ghostrider out the way real quick? Because I feel like that's going to be the most painful by far.
Yeah, let's go through it.
All right, released in 2007 from Columbia Pictures, written and directed by, Daredevil fame, Mark Steven Johnson. He keeps popping up. Yeah. Starring Nick Cage as Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider. Eva Mendes is in it, Wes Bentley, Sam Elliott, and the late, great Peter Fonda.
Mr. Peter Fonda, yep.
We have said the late, great a lot the last 2 weeks.
Well, it's crazy, when you dip back to these movies that came out 20 years ago, and you realize that, there's a lot of those actors that were pretty old in those movies then, and 20 years, it's crazy. I mean, you look back at just even the Harry Potter movies, and you can just start counting on both hands all the actors that are no longer with us. It's just crazy.
I'd rather not, because I was at Universal the day. It wasn't Alan Rickman. It was John Hurt, who played Ollivander, passed away, and it was so sad because people did a wand circle and everything for Ollivander. Yeah. But
Maggie Smith,
Alan Rickman, Robbie Coltrane. God, we can't keep going with those. Yeah. But we're gonna talk some Daredevil and get this out the way, because it is kind of rough. It's a story of Johnny Blaze. Or Ghost Rider, sorry. It's the story of Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider. He unwittingly makes a deal to save his father, and he becomes the devil's weapon, and must keep a cursed contract from Mephistopheles' son, Blackheart, or risk the end of the world. It stars Nick Cage. I was really excited when Spider Noir was announced.
Yeah.
Whew, I gotta say, after rewatching these two movies, I am deeply afraid of what might be coming, because this man is absolutely bonkers in everything he does.
He is pretty, I mean, he doesn't have, he's always just at 11. He very rarely does he hold back. And I think he really kind of wanted to lean into I don't know, what some movie stars that are actual trained actors, they see these movies as goofy and comic booky and cartoony, and I think maybe that's what he was kind of going into it with. He's just I'm gonna goofball it up, this whole it's a comic book movie, so I'm gonna really be over the top, and his over the top is usually a 12 or a 13.
That's a good way to describe it. I'm sure you're aware, because you're a movie guy also. He is a bit of a Nepo baby, if you will.
A bit. He's the prime example of a Nepo baby.
What kills me about what you just said, where he took it as a comic movie and took it to 12, he's such a big comic fan. So this guy actually has a Ghost Rider tattoo on his arm that they had to cover up for the movie. Before the movie. Keep in mind, he didn't I'm cast as Ghost Rider, I'm getting this tattoo.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
He did, yeah. So he has this tattoo. I mean, his son's named, I believe, Kal-El after Superman.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a massive comic fan. You did not rewatch this one, right?
No.
The best thing I can say about this movie, then, the origin story is relatively correct. It's his father. It's his father in this. It's his stepfather in the comic. In the original comic, it's actually Satan, not
Mephistopheles.
Yeah,
Mephistopheles.
Well, this movie's weird because they refer to him as Mephistopheles, because I think there were some weird rights still involving Mephisto in this.
Right. Yeah.
But the original is Satan, and then the comic itself retcons it that it was Mephisto masquerading as Satan. But it is a relatively accurate, origin story, and that's where the awesomeness of this movie ends. Yeah, the CG, I guess, was good for the time. It's hard for me to say as a kid watching. I mean, not really a kid, but
I remember watching it in the theaters and remember being this is bad. I remember at the time, because before, I mean, it's 2007. We had already had Jurassic Park and Titanic and all these movies that incredible CGI. We knew it was available. We knew that we had the budgets and the ability to make things look cool. And I just remember like 2007, and I'm like, this is what we've got for this movie. Like, this is pretty bad.
Yes. That's it. Yes. Fun fact I learned, the skull is actually a 3D rendering of his actual skull. That's how insane this man actually is. He wanted that done.
That checks out.
I mean, for him, I found out he wrote sections of the script. I'm going to assume the scene where he, and I cannot make this up, eats Mike and Ike's out of a martini glass. I'm not making any of this up. Or possibly the scene where he just walks in, drinks coffee straight out of the... I do not really know what I'm watching here. My favorite part about the movie was someone tries to rob someone, and it's Rebel Wilson's first movie role. Like Glee, Pitch Perfect Rebel Wilson.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Spot on American accent, too, if you ever do rewatch the movie.
No, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. The writing's awful. The fight scenes are way too quick. I have nothing good to say about this movie, so let's move on to Spirit of Vengeance, which I even have less good things to say about. 2011, again, Columbia Pictures, this time written by Blade's David S. Goyer. Directed by the pair known as Taylor and Neveldine, starring Nick Cage once again as Ghostrider, along with Idris Elba, Claren Hines, Christopher Lambert, like Highlander himself, Johnny Whitworth. What was promised as a sequel is just a botched attempt at a possession movie circa like Ghostbusters 2, where Vigo wants to take the baby over, just rewritten even worse than that somehow was. I have nothing good to say about this movie. It was absolute insanity. They retconned so much in the first movie. Peter Fonda was like, he read 5 pages of this script and said, yeah, guys, I'm going to get out of here on this one. It's almost like a multiverse story. None of it really checks out, where at the end of the first movie, it's like, no, I'm not going to give up the Spirit of Vengeance. Fuck you, devil. Which makes no sense, because I feel like Mephisto can just take that from you.
Yeah.
In this one, it's the other way, and he wants to get rid of it again. And we've rewritten this story. At the end, he decides that it turns out that the spirit that has possessed him, he has done so much good, it is now an angel, and he burns blue instead of red and is able to resurrect. The insanity of this movie is like something you and I could have written when we were 13 years old with the help of AI. And that's all I have to say about it, man.
Well, it does give us just an ever growing list of characters that have appeared twice in the MCU. Idris Elba, which is cool. And that happens again in Blade Trinity, where we get a slew of actors, and we'll talk about that when we get to that one. Slew of actors that have made their reappearance and resurgence in the MCU for the better. Definitely for the better.
Best thing I can say about this movie, honestly, after this, the rights of Ghostrider revert back to Marvel. Thank you, Jeebus.
Yeah.
That's it. Insanity is going to be a lot of the production of a couple of these movies. Nick Cage showed up to set with a skull painted on his face.
Great.
Like, Day of the Dead style. Not at the request of the director, production department. He needed it to get into character. And I say, yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Cool.
Yep. And I say we leave it at that.
Well, let's talk about like where we possibly think we could see Ghostrider in the future. And what do you think it's going to be? Johnny Blaze? Do you think it'll be Danny Ketch? Do you think it'd be Robbie Reyes? Because I think we don't need Johnny Blaze. Or is it Johnny Blaze?
Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze. I always get them confused. Him and Fantastic Four.
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm, yeah. But yeah, so I don't think we need Johnny Blaze. I think Robbie Reyes would be a cool iteration to see, and I think we could have a cool team up with Blade, with Moon Knight to get the Midnight Suns. We could have, just a couple of different really cool. I think I would love to see that as like a complete offshoot, its own little thing. We could do a TV series possibly. Um, maybe he could appear in Secret Wars. I don't know.
So this is one of the characters I thought I was going to be very gun ho about seeing in Secret Wars, just Nick Cage for like a half second.
Yeah.
After this, I just don't. There is very little redeemable quality to any of this. If he shows up, I hope it's just him getting throttled real fast.
Well, that would be so out of character though, because
his Ghostrider, like I would
Ghost
like us to be,
is an OP next level hero. Or vigilante, I guess you could call him.
If it was him getting taken out by the new Ghostrider, I would enjoy it, but I don't see Nick Cage being the type of person that's going to agree to that is the problem.
Well, you don't even have to get Nick Cage. Just get a CG Ghostrider that is Johnny Blaze. You got just have the flaming skull and then just have Robbie Reyes come in and put him out. Like it'd be kind of cool seeing two Ghost Riders clashing, like motorcycles like circling around each other, whipping the chains at each other. That'd be kind of cool.
Honestly, if we're gonna get anyone from this movie, I'd rather Sam Elliott's old school Ghost Rider on the horse.
Interesting. Okay.
Who is, cool. By the way, I totally checked because I'm tired of saying the late great, and I'm like, Christ, is Sam Elliott still alive? Thank the movie gods, Sam Elliott is still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this honestly ruined. I would love to see Ghost Rider in Secret Wars, and we're overdue for him, but I no longer have a care to see Nick Cage.
No,
appear.
Absolutely not.
And that's what I meant as him getting throttled. Like, I would love to see the new Ghost Rider be like, who are you? And just take him out. Or even Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto.
Yeah.
You got anything else for Ghost Rider?
No, I would just love to see I would love to see the character itself be given more justice in the future. And I hope that they do bring, I have always loved Ghost Rider as a character. I think he's always had really interesting stories and a lot of different cool iterations of him. Different people play, like Robbie Reyes and like his long lost brother Danny Ketch. Like I think there's a lot of room to work with a character like that when there have been so many people that have taken the mantle up. So I just think it could be interesting to revisit, and it doesn't have to be. We don't have to worry about it being Johnny Blaze. We could do completely something else. I mean, a woman's been Ghost Rider before. Alejandra Jones is her name, and she's a Nicaraguan woman. She was shortly was a Ghost Rider for a short time. It's just so it's just kind of a cool. It's not like it's just like a Green Lantern situation. There's not only one of them. There could be many people that take up the mantle. So, be kind of cool. But that's all I have from these movies.
Do you think there would be backlash if it was not the Johnny Blaze iteration of Ghost Rider from the main core the core audience?
I don't think so. I think people would be just as happy to see like a Robbie Reyes situation.
I actually I believe I want to say Gabriel Luna, but that might be wrong. That played him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really enjoyed that actor. And he was supposed to get a spinoff on Hulu, and it ended up obviously not playing out.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Gabriel Luna, but it is Gabriel something or other. So the big name I've seen thrown around by everybody is Norman Reedus. I feel like he is a bit too old to jump in as our Johnny Blaze if they were going to go the Johnny Blaze route.
Yeah. That Norman Reedus would have been cool. 10 years ago for sure.
10 years ago, yeah.
And that would have been cool because he's in also Blade as well, so like another re-entry into the Marvel universe, and kind of reinventing themselves. So I think that I think he could still probably play a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in some capacity, because I just think he's good for that. He's good for like nerddom. He likes going to cons. He likes, interacting with fans, and you can tell that he enjoys this kind of space.
I agree. So I was actually correct. His name was Gabriel Luna. Yeah, and he is currently, let's see, 1982. So he is about 43 years old. He could totally still play Robbie Reyes.
Of course.
So,
I mean, that's the thing is that like I mean, like how old was Nick Cage in 2007?
oh God,
Like,
I
you
don't
know what I
even want
mean?
to.
Like he's
Yeah,
definitely in his 40s.
if they don't go with Gabriel Luna and they want to bring in Robbie Reyes, I got to say, Andor's Diego Luna would be an interesting choice for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of really talented Latino actors out there that could really crush that role for sure.
I agree, but with that said, I say we move on to Blade.
All right.
August in 1998, the movie we really have to thank for the for Marvel not going bankrupt in reality.
It's true. Very true.
And you can argue X-Men and Spider-Man would not have happened if not the studios realized, hey, there's profit in this.
Blade was actually a pretty successful movie.
Very, very, very much so, actually. So it's written by David S. Goyer, directed by Stephen Norrington. New Line Cinema, starring, obviously, Wesley Snipes as the titular Blade.
Yep.
Stephen Dorff is Deacon Frost, who, once again, we do get a relatively comic accurate, not set in the proper city, but relatively comic accurate origin within reason. His mother does pass in the comic, but does not in the movie, we find out. But Deacon Frost is a major player in that. And the late, great writer of Me and Bobby, which would later be known when Janis Joplin sang it as Bobby McGee, Chris Christopherson is Whistler. Oh, yeah. Man. The best part of these movies, even though Blade's, very interesting, Blade's mentor is actually Jamal Afari, who grew up in Harlem and learned to fight vampires to keep the neighborhood safe, and comes across Blade when vampires are finally trying to take him out in his latter years. I'm leaving a little bit of his origin out, where he had some abuse and some other issues he was dealing with, and he ends up moving into a brothel in London with Blade and decides to train a young half vampire to kill vampires in the comic. Blade was ahead of his time, really, in telling a real story back when people, it seemed, weren't really ready for that, if that makes sense. All right. You know, the movie obviously centers around our day-walking vampire, Blade, vampire slayer, Blade, who takes on Deacon Frost, who, like Blade, is not a pureblood vampire, seeks to unlock the power of La Magra, the ancient blood god, and turn all of humanity into vampires. I agree with you.
Very mustache twirly.
It is, but it holds it, as you said, it really is, of everything this week, the best fold in, because I feel you could fold this into the MCU. It's its own self-contained thing, but we don't get a lot of dealings of the outside world. You know, you could be like, hey, this happened 30 years ago, and move on.
Right.
Do you feel Blade, Wesley Snipes could be the MCU's Blade?
No.
Too old?
Yeah, and he doesn't have the spirit of somebody who I would want in the MCU. We already have Robert Downey Jr. We don't need two of them, you know? Like it's just too much ego for one screen. You know, I thought it was fun to see him come back in Deadpool Wolverine, but you could tell he doesn't move the way he used to. He's not a young man anymore. He's not a spring chicken. And Blade, if is nothing but very, very acrobatic. I would love to see them get somebody that has like really like how they got Tom Holland to play Spider-Man. Like I want somebody who can do backflips. I want somebody who can, you know, can move like that, the way that Blade's supposed to move. It's you know, it would just be more visually interesting, and I think people would really be on board if the person that was doing it was doing a lot of their own stunts. Would be pretty cool. And in that way, I blanking on his name right now.
The one Mahershala
Ali, I think, is like at this point like a little too old too to play Blade.
That was my next question for you. Do you feel he is? I don't think
he's got the look. He looks like a cold, badass killer, but I don't know. if it'll look cool with him. When like every time there's an action sequence, we cut to, shadows and stunt choreographer or a stuntman. I think it'll look clunky. I won't believe that Mahershala Ali is moving like that.
Like, I don't think he's too old to play Blade. I think he's too old to play Blade the way you would want it done, as in, as per Tom Holland doing a lot of his own physicality. I think in that way he is definitely too old.
Yeah.
I would love to see him, but also part of me is part of me is locked into the Blade Knight we got in Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, Blade Knight was cool. Blade Knight was so cool.
And it looked like Mahershala Ali. Like they definitely did not hold back on that.
The visuals of that, like the whole situation where like you got the Egyptian god in the vision of the sword as it's going by, like it was
Khonshu going by.
Yeah, and then just like the rapid, like, 1,000 strike, like where he was just like strike, blocking. That all looked so cool. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about. I would love to see Blade move like that in live action.
Right.
And I don't think I wouldn't believe it if that was Mahershala Ali.
Are you talking about the zombie ghost fight he has where he just zombie ghost is taking everyone out?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he just cuts her to shreds. That's one of my favorite scenes in that show, which was I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely drew me to watch the show because it was one of the highlighted parts that they showed in the trailer.
Yep.
Kind of wish I didn't see it in the trailer because I would have watched it anyway. But I was anticipating that happening, and then when it did happen, you saw the full sequence. It was really cool.
I agree. Let's circle back to the movie so we can move on to the others. So I said it does take a little bit of liberties. Blade was not actually. He did not have the look that he currently does before this happened. Also, he was not a daywalker. They changed that. The movie was so successful that Marvel actually went back and changed that. In the comic,
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pre this, he was not that big of a character, and the look, the leather jacket. Well, the leather jacket was kind of there, but it's a different leather jacket. It's Tomb of Dracula 10 or 14, I think it's 10, is his first appearance. If you see that, it's just that very 1970s look, circa Shaft, if you will.
I was gonna say Shaft, yeah.
They were going to use Morbius in this, and obviously some rights. 1998, no one knew how a contract worked, apparently.
Right.
But in the comic, he actually becomes a daywalker because Morbius bites him. He is immune to vampire bites, but because Morbius is a little bit different, it does alter his DNA a bit.
Yeah.
Besides that,
would have been a really cool way to try and tie him into the Spider-Man universe, But at that time, 1998, they were just going to be coming out with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. If this 1998 movie decided to go with the canon,
that was 2000, I think, right? Tobey
Spider-Man,
yeah,
either 2000 or 2001.
Yeah,
but you could have had a really cool tie-in with Blade appearing in the first. I mean, that what's the director's name? Sam Raimi would have loved to have a vampire in his movie.
Oh God, you know what, dude? I never thought about
Morbius,
that.
Morbius is a very common villain in the Spider-Man universe, and so if they were thinking like that, if they were thinking in terms of making a connected universe, that would have been a really cool way to connect these first couple of movies.
Dude, I totally agree with you. I will say the one thing that I do enjoy about this movie, that nightclub scene in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
still holds up. Very, very iconic when the blood comes out of the showers, the whole nine.
Yeah, it's very, very Wachowski brothers or Wachowskis.
Yeah,
very much very, very Matrixy. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They definitely got this first movie definitely got the vibe correct, I think.
100%. Marvel movie, no Stan Lee cameo, and the only other thing I want to add for the first movie that I had was up in the running was Denzel Washington, LL Cool J, and Lawrence Fishburne. How 1998 of us.
That's about as 1998 as it gets.
I mean, I guess Lawrence Fishburne probably made the right decision by going to make The Matrix.
LL Cool J probably went to go make that shark movie.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea was around that time, I think.
I actually have
2001 or 2002.
I have a very weird movie that I know is horrible that I can't turn away because of LL Cool J is SWAT with Colin Farrell, LL Cool J.
Oh yeah. Wow, I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Jeremy Renner. It is one of those movies that is a guilty pleasure, or if it's on TV, I'm like, I'm gonna watch this thing.
Well, like you were saying, I mean, this was a successful outing in terms of it convinced people that these movies can make a solid impact at the box office. Only 120 minutes long. The budget was $45 million, and the box office take back was $131.2 million. With so that's almost $100 million movie in 1998.
Right. Donald Logue plays one of the vampires in this.
Yeah, I love Donald Logue.
So I know you're a little younger than me. Do you remember Jimmy the taxi driver or Jimmy the cab driver from the MTV commercials back in the day? I'm going to send you some YouTube videos. That's a very young Donald Logue. So he dies in this. He dies in Ghostrider 1 because he's Johnny Blaze's best friend in that. And has the most unceremonious death where Nicolas Cage walks in and there's your friend's dead body all shriveled up from Blackheart, and he's just like, meh, miss you, buddy. In all my trivia hunting, Donald was also almost cast as Foggy Nelson in Daredevil.
Yes, I saw that. I did see that. Yeah.
Oh man, we got a lot of him in this. That, you know what? Anybody I want to see in Secret Wars would just be him at this point. I'm fine with it.
I remember my first experience with him was Grounded for Life. Do you remember that sitcom that he was in? He was like the dad, and he's got his like bratty daughter, and yeah, it was pretty good.
That was, man. I forgot about that. That's a good one on that one. That's a good pull.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Oh man. All right, let's go to 2002. Written again by David S. Goyer, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Movie was written with Guillermo del Toro in mind.
Yeah.
The agreement he had was, I'll make it, but it's got to be scarier than the first one.
Right.
It was. New Line Cinema, once again, obviously. Wesley Snipes is back. Chris Christopherson as Whistler. We get Ron Perlman and Norman
Reedus. Yeah.
Yep. Scud. Norman Reedus is Scud. Sequel is set in Prague.
Which is like, filmed. I mean, does he or does he not just look like a scud? Like, come on.
100%.
It's perfect.
The name really does fit him to a T.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't nail that any better. Set in Prague, it opens with a Reaper Nomak who's feeding on vampires. I feel weird calling it a blood bank, but that's kind of what it is. Centers around what ends up being his father's, plan, and oh man, I don't even know where to go with this movie. A lot of people
because it's all over the place.
It is, and a lot of people prefer it weirdly to the first one, which it was never my favorite. It never did. It never moved the meter much for me. If that's a term that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like it better than the first one, but the box office doesn't lie. It made more at the box office this time around. Budget was 54 million, box office 155 million, so a little over 100 million. So now you're talking over 200 million dollars in box office revenue from two movies. Yeah, I mean, people were coming out to see these movies for sure.
Yep. Especially when we're not talking a PG movie either.
Right. Not even a little bit PG.
Yeah. You can tell it's a Del Toro movie. I don't mind it. I just think David S. Goyer might not be the strongest writer. How about that?
Yeah, no. And that comes full circle when we get to Trinity, because he wrote and directed that one, and it was by far the worst in terms of box office and also just everything.
It was, and I think you just pulled a pretty pretty decent transition into that. So he ends up directing it. He ends up directing it because Guillermo del Toro made a decision to make this little movie called Hellboy, which I guess he probably did the right thing.
Yeah, I think so. He got Ron Perlman to come on board for his titular character.
They also tapped Steve Norrington from the original, and Steve Norrington looked at the script and also said, sorry, this one just isn't for me. So it ends up starring David S. Goyer. The best thing about this movie, honestly, I feel like, are the 10 facts that I sent you. But once again, Wesley Snipes, Chris Christopherson. We get Parker Posey.
Parker
H,
Posey,
right?
Natasha Lyonne,
Ryan
God. Reynolds, Jessica Biel. I mean, the cast itself is crazy.
Patton Oswalt and Dominic Purcell as Dracula. Dominic Purcell from, for me, was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was in The Flash as Captain Cold.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Prison Break.
Prison, good call on Prison Break. He does get a little second life on, you know, the CW with the Arrowverse. Not a good movie.
Like Legends of Tomorrow, I think.
Legends of Tomorrow. They bring Captain Cold over. Not a big movie. Not a good movie. It's the sloppily made story of our hero Blade and his team of vampire slayers going up against this team that has resurrected Drake or Dracula.
I mean, it looks like if Matrix, if the crew from the Matrix, when they're in the Matrix, like Neo's team when they're in the Matrix, had a baby with Weapon X team from the Wolverine origin story. That's what this team looks like. It's just like dark sunglasses and leather coats and swords and like literally Ryan Reynolds' character in this is basically just Wade from Wolverine origin. Like it literally is the same exact character. Just like I mean Ryan Reynolds very rarely ever is not just Ryan Reynolds anyway, but like you could literally play those two movies back to back and be like, oh, that's the same person.
Hannibal King is not quite played correctly in this. Right. But somehow Hannibal King, for me, was the best part of this movie.
Well, he had a lot of zingers, and apparently that bothered Snipes behind the scenes a lot, that he was getting a lot of the zingers.
Well, it's funny because there's a scene in a van where it's the two of them back and forth with each other, and a lot of Wesley Snipes' reply to his zingers, as you put it, are, yeah. That's because they're not in the same scene together. So basically, Ryan Reynolds can say whatever he wanted, acting against nobody. Right. And they just ran with it. Wesley Snipes ends up suing the studio and David S. Goyer because he felt that Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel got too much screen time and he did not get enough.
Right.
It was a pretty doomed movie from the start. There is a fun behind the scenes shot of Jessica Biel destroying what at the time was a $300,000 camera. Do you know about this one?
No.
So she's actually pretty proficient with a bow and arrow, and David S. Goyer tells her to shoot it at the camera. So the camera had a piece of plexi with probably like just something big enough for the lens to go. He really didn't think she could hit it, and the 1-for-1's it.
Jeez Louise.
Wesley Snipes would only do close-ups in this film. Wesley Snipes attempted to strangle David S. Goyer. He denies it. David S. Goyer does not. There is a true story of David S. Goyer going to a strip club and finding a bunch of Hell's Angels and paying their tab in exchange for them to come out the next day and pretend to be his security.
Drama.
The drama. Wesley Snipes only communicating via post-it note and signing them Blade. The insanity of this movie. It's funny when both Goyer and Patton Oswalt talk about it. They go, is it a good movie? No, but it's one of the greatest movies ever made simply because it ended up being made. They were like, I can't imagine this was gonna get made.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like after rewatching it that there were several movies made none of them finished, and then they just chopped it all together in the editing room because it's like so many storylines that are like just dropped. So many characters that you're like, are we going to see more of that person? No. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Um,
I love that I sent you the 10 behind the scenes of Blade 3
yeah,
facts to you, and you're like, I knew those eyeballs were CGI.
yeah. It's so obvious. I was like, wait, I had to like pause it. That's right.
And unless you have something else to talk about, I am really happy to say that, with the exception of next week's Wheel of Fortune, which I'm going to do my best to make kind of fun for both of us, we have pretty much trudged through the swamp of these legacy properties, or at least the ones we were going to do a full rewatch and review on. And
Yeah,
it feels pretty refreshing inside. I don't know about you.
it feels good to be out of this, out of the muck.
Well, you know what we still have to
I do
do?
like to always just point out, like, whenever we have like um people who have multiple roles, and now Ryan Reynolds has been in three separate MCU properties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we got Natasha Lyonne that appeared in Fantastic Four.
Whose character I don't like, and we will talk about that when when we review that movie. And it's not that
Yeah,
like I don't like her as an actress. It's none of that. I actually love her as
right.
an actress. I don't
Well, you can tell that a
understand
lot
that
of her
character.
story got snipped out too, I think. But we can,
Absolutely, that is.
yeah,
We'll get there, but that is a movie that
yeah.
I feel like we can tell really got cut to crap. We have to
I
do a
think she
thing.
got to the I think she got to the premiere and was excited, and then when she saw the movie, she was like, "Where the hell am I?"
See, that makes me sad. I'm gonna have to look that up tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if she's actually come out and been quoted saying that, but I can just imagine that like she, I up and she had been on a couple podcasts that I listened to promoting the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and you could tell that she was excited about it, and but she didn't know, like she even said it in one interview. She's like, they'll probably cut a lot of my stuff out of that because I'm not the Hollywood type. I'm not very pretty or whatever. She said something like that, and I was like, oh, that sucks that she feels that way. But then they did, which sucks even more.
So we're gonna do a thing here that we do every week, and I pretty much already know everyone's
Across
answers.
the
I feel
board.
like. Um, let's just do it together. Ghostrider 1-2, worthy or
No,
exiled?
exiled.
Exiled. Blade 1, worthy of the rewatch, or do we exile it?
I would say it's worthy of a rewatch. If you've never seen it, then give it a shot. I think you'll like it. That's nice.
I agree. You got to go into it a little bit as a hey, it's going to be a little dated, but it works. Blade 2, worthy or unworthy?
I mean, I'm just a huge nerd and fan of these things, and I thought it was entertaining. Is it worthy of a rewatch in terms of like when you're like trying to prep yourself for Doom? I would say no, but is it worthy of just a rewatch if you want to like pure entertainment? I'd say yes.
I'm going to say worthy of a rewatch, only because I do like the Reapers. I like Del Toro's horror take on this.
Yeah.
If we do, I don't think we're going to see Blade. We'll touch on that in a second, or at least Wesley Snipes' again. But if we do, I would love to see him maybe popping out of a portal from that universe, fighting some Reapers. I do think it's a decent movie and worthy of a rewatch. It's got a good enough cast to rewatch it. So I'm gonna go worthy on this one. Blade Trinity.
No. Big old thumbs
I'm
down.
exiling it to the
Exile.
nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything from Ghostrider you would like to see moving
I just would
forward?
like to see Ghostrider in general. Like I would love to see his character get some redemption. Because he's a cool character. He's a complex character. He's an anti-hero. They always, have complicated stories like Punisher and Wolverine. Like they kill people, they're bad, but they're also like kind of good. And it's just a classic anti-hero. And I always think that those are like make some of the most intriguing characters. So I would love to see just Ghost Rider the character, but it doesn't have to have anything to do with the movies. In fact, I don't want them to.
My answer is the same as yours. I would like to see Ghostrider the character, but after this rewatch, and I think because we took last week off, so I kind of like rewatched. I am so Nick Caged out right now that
Yeah.
I'm already mentally prepped for Noir, and that's about as much Nick Cage as I'm ready to take for the next couple of years.
Yeah. I think so too.
All right, Blade. Is there anything you want to see return?
No, nothing really. Like everything can be left in that universe. Like,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree with you again. I sort of think we peaked getting Wesley Snipes in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think that was just fun. It was just fun, like the way that they did. The way that they did. I want to say Jim Halpert.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, in WandaVision, in Wanda. Oh my God, Doctor
Multiverse
Strange
of Madness.
and the Multiverse of Madness when they
Yeah.
had
He was Reed Richards. John
the
Krasinski.
actor's name, John Krasinski. When they had, I'm terrible with names today. When they had John Krasinski in for that short bit, it was nice. It was a fan picked favorite. A lot of people had been saying they wanted to see him and they saw him, but that's it. We don't need to have more of it. And I think the same thing with Wesley Snipes cameo and Deadpool Wolverine. It was cool to see them together for that little bit, but I don't need to see him again as Blade.
Did you get the director's cut of Multiverse of Madness? Because in mine, he was played by Randall Park. I'm joking. Do you know the Office?
I thought you were talking about Blade. I thought you were talking about Blade, and I was like,
no. I meant
yeah.
The long running Office joke.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
I
I like that it crosses over into some of their other stuff too. They like constantly are doing referencing that in their real life.
Yes. Oh, 100%, dude. 100%.
Yeah, it's great.
I think I was pumped to see. So remember, like a couple weeks ago, I was like, no, I'm gun ho, and I want to see Nick Cage back as Ghostrider.
Yeah.
I think when you said it was fun to see Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine, that's the perfect terminology, because it was really fun, and a Deadpool movie can pull off that fun because it does, it does break that fourth wall and do the things of that nature.
Yeah.
I don't think that can happen in Secret Wars or Doomsday, like straightforwards. I just don't see a way that works.
I don't even see like Deadpool. I mean, maybe making a cameo or two, but he can't. Like, he's got his own like thing going on. I think they could kind of keep that stuff separate, because like he really just doesn't belong in the main storyline. I don't think, I
would agree.
Be a good fit. Well, I don't think it'd be a good fit. I can see him having movies with like Spider-Man on his own, like having those little like in comics they call them like, special editions or something, like where they have just like a side issue, and it's like maybe like it's like a 5 or 6 issue run where it's just like, this is how it would be if Deadpool and Spider-Man were teaming up and stuff, like, and that's cool. You can do a solo movie with Deadpool and Spider-Man, but in terms of like the overarching like theme of the MCU, I just don't see him fitting that well.
I'd love to see a cameo from him somehow, but I also agree that the fourth wall breaking would be too much in the MCU.
Yeah.
It didn't work in She-Hulk, and I just don't think it works in a Deadpool movie. I love your idea for a Deadpool Spider-Man movie, but then for me, it's got to be Toby or Andrew. It's not Tom.
Okay.
Like,
I like that.
It
or
just
Toby and Andrew.
Oh boy, and then we're throwing in you also, and that works. But I'm with you on that, and I think we have pretty much deemed most of this unworthy.
We're rewatching it basically, just so you the viewer and listener don't have to. That is Ghostrider.
Oh man, and that I think that is it, unless you have something else, my friend.
Just always do a quote at the end from Doom. And one of my favorite quotes that he said at one point was, "I was a god. I found it beneath me." That's how badass Doom is. He's like, godlyhood was beneath me.
No.
I just, there's just so many quotes like that, just so cold and icy and fucking badass. And so that's my
I,
quote for today.
I love him so.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the iteration in the upcoming films.
Me too, my friend. Me too. Well, then I think that is it, guys. So, hey, all you guys, thanks for taking this time to scroll with us on this third episode of Doom Scrolling. If you enjoyed us, please give a rate, a follow, tell your friends. Definitely tell Lord Doom we are worthy and are good, loyal subjects. Okay. Next week, we're going to play a little roulette and get through the rest of these legacy properties. But until then, this has been Doom Scrolling, a member of the Late Night Nerd Podcast Network, and we appreciate the time you took to take this journey with us. Till next time, I'm Walt.
I'm Dylan.
You guys, binge responsibly, buy physical media, and take care of yourselves. Till next time.
All roads lead to doom.